Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael and today I'm going to share with you my version of Mexican rice. This could not be any easier. All the ingredients are going to come together really quickly. So let's get started on that and we'll show you what we've got going into our rice today. So we're going to start out with 1 cup of long grain rice, and I've given that a good rinse. You want to make sure when you rinse that the water is running clear on that. So give your rice a good wash on that. So that's 1 cup of rice. Then I've got 2 Roma tomatoes, and I'm going to core those, and we're going to put those into our blender here. I've got 2 large cloves of garlic, and we'll be using that in our blender as well. I've got a half a teaspoon of ground cumin and a half a teaspoon of ground onion powder. I've got 1 tablespoon of tomato bouillon with chicken. This is optional. If you don't want to use this, you don't have to. Or if you don't have this, you can actually use the chicken bouillon, and that's optional also. But this will add a little bit more color to your rice, and this is 1 tablespoon. I've got a large onion here. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to quarter that off, and I'll show you how much we're going to use of that. I've got a 1/4 cup of measured out chicken stock. I've got 1 3/4 cup of chicken stock over here, so that's a total of 2 cups of chicken stock. I've got 2 tablespoons of a vegetable oil. I've got a serrano pepper. You can use one of these, or you can use a jalapeno, whichever one you like. Or this is completely optional. If you don't want to put that in there, you definitely don't have to. And I've got salt and pepper to taste. So we've got all our ingredients here. Let's get started making the rice now. So let's get started with our tomatoes, and I've got a tomato core. If you've never seen one of these before, put the link in the description box below. This is really nice. It takes out that core out of those tomatoes and saves the rest of the tomato behind, so you don't lose a lot of that. So you see what I've got out of that? It's really nice to have one of these. If you don't have it, you can use a knife to take that out, and it will do the same thing to the other one. Now I'm going to give my tomatoes a rough chop here so they will fit into my blender. There we go. We've got our Roma tomatoes cut up. Now you can use regular tomatoes if you want to. I just find that the Roma tomatoes are a little bit easier because they don't have a lot of the seeds and juice on the inside of those. So we'll just put those into the blender now. I've got my 2 cloves of garlic. I'll go ahead and put those in now. Now I've got my onion here, and I'm going to cut that into a 1/4. So just cut it in half. And then I'll take that and cut that into a 1/4. And then I'm going to take the outer skin off of it, and the root end, I'll cut that off of it as well. And I'll just give this another little rough chop here, just so that it blends up nicely. We'll put that into the blender. We'll save this onion for another day and another recipe. Now we'll go ahead and add our cumin and our onion powder in, our tomato bouillon, and our 1/4 cup of our chicken stock. And now we're going to blend this until it's smooth. All right, that looks like that has blended up nicely, and I'll show you what that looks like on the inside. We'll set this to the side, and now let's get started with our rice. All right, I've got a 12-inch skillet here, and you want something that you're going to be able to put a lid on. And I've got this one here, and I'm going to be putting a glass lid on it so I can see it. I'm going to show you what it looks like as it's cooking. So I've got my 2 tablespoons of my neutral vegetable oil here. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the bottom of the pan. Now I'm going to take my rice that I've rinsed, and I'm going to go ahead and put that into the pan as well, and we're going to be toasting our rice. Now with my flame on this, I've got it turned down to about a medium low, and we'll just get that spread around on the bottom of the pan there. We do not want to rush this. We want to make sure we take our time with it because you can burn your rice really quickly. So all we're looking for is to toasting it, and so I'll show you along the way what this looks like. You want to come in and occasionally stir the rice. You don't want to leave it setting for a very long time. Again, we're looking to toast it, and we're not going to burn it. So just keep a watch on it and keep moving it around in your skillet. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes now, and my rice is looking really good. It's got a nice toasted kind of golden color to it. I hope that comes across on the screen. It's not very dark, but you can definitely see that it's a lot darker than it was when we first started out. So between 10 to 15 minutes, down on low, medium, low, and just take it real easy with that until you get a nice toasted color on that. Now I went and grabbed my tomato puree that I've got here, and I went and blended it one more time just to make sure that it had a good mix to it. And we want to add that to our pot. And we're just going to give that a little stir around there. I've still got it down on medium, low. And with that, we just want to leave that in there for about 30 seconds to a minute. And so we can kind of bring that tomato puree up to a temperature. Now I've got my chicken stock, and I did heat that up. I don't want it boiling, but I did want it hot. So when I add that into it, it'll almost be coming up to a boil pretty quickly. So heat your chicken stock up so that it's not quite boiling, but just right under it, and then give it a good mix through with your rice. Now's the time you want to add any seasoning. If you want to add any salt and pepper, definitely do that at this point now. You might want to be careful with that though. Give it a taste to see if it tastes pretty good. You might not need any. I didn't need to add any because my chicken stock and the tomato bouillon already has sodium in it, so definitely check that before you put any more in it. Like I say, this batch I did not have to add any salt to or pepper to it. Now that that's coming up to a boil, we're going to take our pepper and we're going to put that right in the middle. Again, that's completely optional. If you want to cut it in two, you can. That'll bring out a little bit more of that heat out of it. But definitely like that. It will flavor the rice, and you'll really like the flavor that that's going to bring. Now that we've got our lid on it, now we want to cook our rice, and you'll be able to tell by looking through the glass here when the moisture in the pan itself has cooked into the rice and completely cooked through. You'll have little holes on it. It'll look like the surface of the moon, if a better describing of that, and that way that'll give a good indication that the water has cooked and the rice has absorbed that moisture that's in there. So while this is cooking, mine cooks for about 17 minutes. Everybody's stove is going to cook a little bit differently depending on how low the flame is that you've got on yours. But like I say, do not take the lid off of it. Don't look at it. Don't raise the lid up on it, because that steam that's in there is going to help cook that rice. So definitely leave it alone. Let it cook. Look into the top of it. You'll be able to tell when it is finished by seeing that the moisture has evaporated out of it. And we'll come back and I'll show you what happens next. I am back and my rice is done. I can tell by looking at it. I can see the little pit marks all the way around the top of the rice there through that glass lid. And so I know my rice is done. So now we're going to turn the flame off and we're going to move your pan to a burner or a part of your stove that is cool. Do not leave it where it is now. And we're going to let it sit with the lid on. We still haven't removed the lid. We're not going to remove the lid. Let it sit on your stove for another 15 minutes and then we'll come back and I'll show you what happens next. I am back and my rice is done. This is the first time that the lid is coming off of this. Like I said earlier, do not remove the lid once you put it on it. And now we're going to reveal the rice. Let's take a look at it. This looks absolutely delicious. I know you're going to want to try this one. So now we want to fluff it up a little bit. And I'm going to turn this around here so that I can do that. And just give it a little mix through. You can see how nice and fluffy this rice is. And we've still got our serrano pepper there in the middle. Let's grab meat a little bit and give it a try. Look at this nice color that we've got on this nice red color from that Roma tomatoes that we put in there and that tomato bouillon that we put in there also. Let's give this a try. Smells absolutely delicious. Oh my goodness. This is so good. So easy to make. I know you're going to want to try this recipe. I'm going to have another bite. Delicious. If you like the rice at your favorite Mexican restaurant, now you can make it at home with just a few ingredients that you probably already have, and follow the instructions I've got there and it'll come out perfect for you every time. If you like this content, maybe you might consider giving me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And while you're at it, check out one of these other two videos over here on the side. You might find something else you like. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment and I want to hear how your rice turned out. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now.